Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. In this video I want to talk about my experiences and what I learned by not buying fast fashion for over 4 years now. I want to walk you through why I made that decision and how it went and how it feels now and how I feel about fast fashion. So let's get started. When I was a teenager, I loved to shop for clothes. We would go out almost every day, go walk through the city, walk through like these stores and pick up new things at least once a week. And I just loved like getting new clothes, always thought that these new clothes would make me more like in style, would make me more likable and things like that. And the process of change really happened when I had a bit of time and re-evaluated my values and actually stumbled upon some resources of information about the impact of fast fashion. I don't know if you know, but fashion is the second largest polluter on our environment, on this world. So it is really something that we have to think about. And we as consumers are not responsible for all of it, but we have our part in it because clothing consumption has gone up so much in the past few years or past century. And so I think how we consume and what we spend our money on does really have an impact on how our world looks and which businesses can be successful. The resources I found when discovering the impact of fast fashion and changing my mindset and changing my values about how I want to consume fashion was actually a YouTube channel that is still out there that has a lot of amazing resources. The name of this YouTube channel is My Green Closet and I will link it up here for you. I think her channel is amazing and she really deserves so much more attention, I think, because her channel is such an amazing resource for sustainable fashion and things like that. When I watched her content and all the other content I found online, I just really decided that I do not want to contribute to that system any longer. I want to try my best to live more sustainably, and especially when it comes to fashion, I saw that it would be possible for me to remove this bad impact I had on this industry and start only consuming fashion in a sustainable and ethical way. Now, with that said, I also want to say that I am in a privileged position because I live in a country, I live in Germany, where we have a lot of secondhand options, not really when it comes to thrift stores, because the city I live in is so expensive that even all these thrift stores are expensive and it doesn't really make sense for me to buy things at these thrift stores. But I buy things online secondhand, and sometimes I buy things when I'm in Switzerland or when I'm somewhere else. And apart from that, I'm a woman and women have so many options when it comes to secondhand clothing. Also, I'm pretty small and petite, so really everything fits me because either it fits or it's a bit too large and then I can wear it oversized. So I just wanted to add that here because I don't think everybody has the same possibilities to avoid fast fashion, depending on your budget, on where you live, on your body type, on your gender, on your style, on a lot of things that go into buying fashion. But now I want to share just my experience with quitting fast fashion and how it feels and how I think it is really possible for me in the long run and also for many of you, I guess. So I really remember my last fast fashion purchase. And it was actually a jacket I bought at Aldi, and it was just this soft shell jacket and I thought, oh, it's a perfect jacket, I'll buy it. It looks cute, it's cheap. And I immediately regretted it. That was over 4 years ago and I did not know at that point that that would be my last fast fashion purchase, but for now it has been, and I talked about that purchase in a video I'll link you up here. It's a pretty old one, I think it's over a year old, where I talk about 5 things that I really regret buying, and that's actually really one of those, because such an unethical, unsustainable thing. The whole thing was just impulse buying this jacket I saw and thought it was cute, but I really regretted it, and that has been the last fast fashion piece I bought until now. At first, I thought it was kind of hard because I sometimes wanted to have the things and thought I can only have them if I buy them fast fashion or if I buy, the exact thing I saw. Also, sustainable fashion is very expensive and sometimes you have the feeling like you would not get similar pieces in a sustainable version. for the most part, that is not true anymore, because you can either get them secondhand or you can get like a sustainable option that actually looks similar, because there are so many brands out there that have amazing styles and trendy pieces if you are into these kinds of items. And on My Green Closet, the channel I talked about before, there are so many options as well, so I highly recommend you check her out. But maybe I have to say, during that transition from fast fashion to not shopping that much anymore and then only buying sustainable pieces or secondhand pieces, I was pregnant and breastfed and had a toddler. So my body went through a lot of changes. I did not like my body anymore. I did not care that much about style. And so I think that made the transition a bit easier, because then I already removed myself from this like always buying new things and always feeling like buying new things would give me something. So I had a lot to do with just being a mom and accepting my new body and figuring out what I want to wear without having the time to actually shop all the time, or without having the money, or without wanting to spend that money on clothes. And so that made it a bit easier. And during that process, it just made it possible to like completely break the habit of buying fast fashion. When I now walk through like a street with a lot of stores, when I walk past a fast fashion store, there's like nothing in me that wants to go in there. There's really like, there's not a single part of my body, there's nothing in me that has the slightest desire to walk in there and buy something. Because usually I just don't shop anymore. Like I broke that habit of just shopping as well. I only go buy things when I have a list or a certain item in mind. I just avoid fast fashion stores in general, because usually the quality is not as good as I want it to be. Searching for an item in stores it's just hard, I think. And online shopping is just something I never really transitioned to, because when I was younger, I think online shopping was not really a thing. And then my pregnancy and having a small kid and changing to minimalism and sustainable living, it really made it possible to just skip that step of starting to intensively online shop. So what I do now when I buy new clothes, I have a extreme minimalist wardrobe, and I can link you a playlist up here where you can watch the videos where I talk and share everything about my minimalist wardrobe, show you all the pieces that I own over time, because they do change a bit over time. And that is the first thing that makes it so easy to avoid fast fashion. Like in these, I don't know, 15 to 25 pieces I own, depending on how you count, there is no space to just add a few pieces, because that would kind of double the number of things that I own. So having an extreme minimalist wardrobe makes me choose very carefully which new items I want to allow into my wardrobe. So what I usually do is I have an item in my mind that I'm looking for over a longer period of time. And since I don't just impulse buy it, since I don't just go shop for it whenever it comes to my mind, that creates that space to look for it online on secondhand marketplaces. And in that process of, usually, I mean, that's the thing that I do most often, look for it secondhand. I usually see so many items that kind of fit what I was looking for, that I can easily get one without having to go to a fast fashion store. And secondhand clothing are usually less expensive than buying something new. Also, what I love about secondhand clothing, you can already see how the quality is, kind of, because usually if they can be sold secondhand and if they still look good, then the quality cannot be that bad, because otherwise it would not be in a good shape now when it's sold secondhand. So the most things I get are secondhand. I buy less things in general, and because I buy them secondhand, they are a lot less expensive, so I spend a lot less money on fashion in general. But of course, if we talk about ethical and sustainable fashion and quitting fast fashion, we also have to talk about sustainable fashion. And a lot of people don't choose to buy sustainable fashion just because it is so expensive. And of course, that's true. It's a lot more expensive than fast fashion. But it's not just so much more expensive because somebody wants to make more profit, but it is actually so expensive because that is what a garment costs. that is what it actually costs to pay the workers a living wage, to like make sure it does not pollute the environment, to make sure everybody can like do quality work to contribute to a piece of clothing that is actually worth buying and having for a longer period of time. So the real issue is not that fair fashion is that expensive, but that fast fashion is that cheap, that people are like exploited, that the environment is polluted. And while I get that a lot of people do not get enough money to buy fair fashion, we have to work on that as like a society. It cannot happen that things are that cheap and people are treated that badly. But from a consumer perspective, I completely understand that you cannot afford sustainable fashion all the time, or that you cannot afford sustainable fashion at all. And so I do suggest to just not buy fast fashion whenever possible. But of course, if there is something you need, you see it at a fast fashion store, you can't find it anywhere else, and you do not have the money to pay for it in a sustainable like fashion store, then go ahead and buy the fast fashion piece, because that's good as well. That as long as you buy what you need and then use it, that is like a huge part of it already. Yeah, if you don't have the money, you cannot spend it on fair fashion. But the way I'm handling it, because I also do not have that much money, if you want to know exactly how much I spend and earn each month, I will link you the video up here where I talk about my complete financial situation. So if you want, you can check that out. But I kind of like buy maybe 5% to 10% of the clothing items that I add to my wardrobe. The rest of it is for free from like clothing swaps, or people I know that have clothes they don't want anymore, or like bought secondhand for a very inexpensive price. And I am trying more and more to just figure out what I actually want, because I have to say that my style is still changing. I still change my opinion on what things I want to own, on which kinds of clothing I want to wear. So I do not want to spend a huge amount of money on a few fair fashion pieces that I end up decluttering a few months later because I realize I don't want to wear them. So I try to mostly buy things secondhand in order to be able to also declutter them again and buy new things if I realize that they are not the things that I actually want to wear. But with minimalism also, I try to just avoid consuming for consumption, and I try to only consuming and buy new things if I already think I know that they would add value to my life, that they would be a good piece of clothing in my wardrobe for a long period of time. Now that does not always happen, that's true, but I at least try. I just stopped the habit of shopping. I completely stopped that habit of fast fashion shopping in order to just feel more at peace with my decisions and actually living a life that is aligned with my values, which are, contributing to a better world, living sustainably and caring for myself and the people around me to make it possible for more people to have more chances to live a happy life and fulfill their dreams. And I think fashion can be a huge part of it. And while I do that, and while I'm super happy like that, I cannot tell you what you can do, what you should do, or what the possibilities are in your life. Also, I cannot know if I won't ever buy fast fashion again. That's absolutely not what I want to say. It should just be an example of a possibility. It's possible to buy things secondhand. And I remember when I was a teenager, I sometimes walked into secondhand stores, but never actually bought something because I felt it's poor, it's cheap, it's not something you do. And I'm so glad that I could change my mindset to realize that people do not care what you wear because they are so focused on themselves that they don't even know what you're wearing most of the time. And two, it's a super sustainable option. I can be confidently shopping secondhand knowing that I'm choosing a more sustainable option that will benefit people and the planet in the long run. And so I love secondhand shopping now. This sweater is secondhand. My boyfriend bought it secondhand, then he decluttered it and I took it into my wardrobe because I like it, even though it's pretty big and I have to shorten the sleeves by rolling them up. But if you're interested in knowing how much of my wardrobe is secondhand, I link you a video up here as well where I talk about exactly that. and also check out my whole playlist to know more about the individual pieces in my wardrobe. Now I would be really interested in your thoughts on that subject. If you do buy fast fashion, if you do buy fair fashion, if you do a mixture of both, or if you thrift, or how you handle fashion and your wardrobe in general. I don't think there's a solution that works for everybody, and I don't think there's any sense in trying to pressure anybody into doing something. So that's just my experience, and I hope some of you are maybe inspired and see that it actually can work. And I hope for going forward that this stupid jacket was my last fast fashion purchase, but I can't know. So we will see what the future brings. I hope you like this video, and if you want to see more videos, I'll link you a video and a playlist right now, and I also hope to see you next time. Bye!